Welcome to another week of the inimitable black woman. Welcome back. Welcome back. Give yourself a pat on the back. Yak. That didn't make any sense. Just ignore that. Act like that didn't happen. It's late again. I'm always on this so late at night. Now I'm delirious and I be acting crazy. Anyway, I'm happy you're here. I'm happy for you to hear this interview because your girl was really, really nervous during it. At first, I was like, yo, I am really not doing so well as an interviewer. But thank God she was really interesting, because if it wasn't for her, I think I would have just been like, I failed everyone. But I didn't, thank God. And I'm excited for you to hear this one this week. Take a listen. What is your name?
Britney Carson.
Britney, where are you from?
Born and raised from Austin, Texas.
Okay. Do you like Austin?
I used to love it. Not as much anymore.
Why not?
I think I've traveled so many places that I feel like there's so much outside of Austin that Austin is like living in like a perfect bubble.
Okay. What do you mean by perfect bubble?
I think I was raised in South Austin, where there's like a diverse mix of people, where things can seem like everything's okay. But as I've traveled other places, I've finally encountered racism, poverty that I didn't know existed until I left Austin. Mm-hmm. And then just like people. I went to Bowie. We call it like a cult. Like once you're in, everybody knows everyone's siblings. Everyone kind of grows up in the same part. We kind of stay there. But and they're all similar, even though you don't think that they are. But as I've lived in other places and visited so many other places, I feel like there's so much about people that I didn't know.
Okay, well, what was something that you feel like, I didn't know this, but when I went outside of where I grew up, I was like, okay, this is different.
I didn't know that people felt very comfortable being blatantly racist, like to your face.
When did you learn that?
I lived in Charlotte, North Carolina for a year. I had not ever encountered someone who was comfortable disliking me because I was a black woman until then.
Do you remember the first incident of it?
Oh, absolutely. I worked for a company, a lingerie company, and in my first week of work, I had 3 HR complaints. All from white women who were older than I was, who struggled with me because of the way that I approached situations. Their previous manager was a white woman who,
So you were their manager?
I was.
Okay, you a bad bitch.
And we struggled from the day that I got there until the day that I left. Yeah.
So how did that even get resolved?
My team was split. So Charlotte has like, I want to say just as many black people as they have white people. And I don't think it was ever truly resolved. I think everyone just kind of like fell into place. But my district manager supported me more than she probably should have with the issues. So they were able to report issues anonymously. And so it was, I'm talking like some twice a week, over me giving associates who weren't white more hours or better hours. And I'm like, they're outperforming you. So that's why I'm giving them more hours. But to them, it seemed as if I was showing favoritism to people who weren't white because I wasn't white. I'm one of those people, I don't mind confrontation.
Continue.
So I'm one of those people, when it comes to business, like, it's going to be business. I can remove my personal feelings and we can have a conversation about it. There was one point where there was a note going around about me in the store. And I finally found the note. It finally got to me. And I taped it to our back door, like to our office door, and said, if anyone want to talk about it, I'm always open. Here's my schedule. No one ever chose to sit down to talk to me about it.
What do you think has basically built you, or what is it about your life or who you are where you're like, okay, in these situations, I'm going to deal with them and I'm not going to let them tear me down? Or did they tear you down, but it was something else?
I think when I first started working, it would get to me a lot. Like, I always wanted to be liked. But my mom is probably the strongest woman I've ever encountered. And she would always tell us, someone's problem with you is their personal problem. As long as you like yourself, then it doesn't matter. And so I've just kind of had to learn to hold on to that. And then on the other side, my dad is a business owner, and he has taught me to address things with facts instead of how you feel, because feelings can be picked apart.
Yeah. No, that's real.
Yeah.
What would you give someone advice-wise that is in your position where you know that people are coming at you because you're different from them?
I would say never alter who you are for someone else.
Ooh. Have you seen people do that a lot?
Oh, absolutely. I work in the beauty industry, so people change so many things about themselves to want to feel included. I think that's part of the industry. So I've worked in cosmetics and for medical spas for the past 10 years. You see people change themselves physically more than anything to feel like they blend in. And then you see them change who they are, like mentally, so that they don't feel excluded. You know, like they want to be able to have conversation with everyone else. I mean, I watched a girl get lip filler so that she could have the same conversation with the rest of the girls who had it, which I could never be a part of that. But that's kind of what the beauty industry is made of on the medical side. So, I mean, I don't know the last time that I've had a black counterpart or even a peer. I'm usually like the token black girl in the office.
So you've been dealing with people's weirdness for you for years.
Yeah.
What kind of weird questions do you get asked?
I get asked, what else? You're so beautiful. What else are you? I'm black. What do you mean, what else am I? Well, you're just so... I've literally had a woman tell me, you're so pretty for a black girl. What else? You have to be something else. No. I mean, it's just and then I don't appear on paper as a black woman. I mean, my name doesn't sound like a black woman. I've been told on the telephone I don't sound like a black woman. I've had a client call and talk to me about how much she disliked Obama and black people, and then scheduled an appointment to come in and see me, and then told me that I wasn't the Britney that she talked to on the telephone. Ooh! Because I let her go. Like, I let her say however she felt. I didn't interrupt her. I let her get it off her chest because I knew she would come in, and then that would be the shocker for her.
Ooh. I like you. That's crazy.
I think I look like a black woman. Like, I feel like everything about me looks like a black woman, other than maybe my hair. But I don't think I give off that I'm not a black woman or that I don't want to be a black woman. So I'm usually kind of taken back when I get that question. I think that being a black woman is more than enough.
What do you think is the most surprising thing about you?
Probably is that I'm actually a very sensitive person.
Okay.
It's probably the most surprising thing about me. And I think that is because in most aspects of my life, I'm usually in charge of other people or other things, from work to family. So then when I do have a moment where I'm emotional or upset, people take it as like, what's wrong with her? Like, this isn't her. Like, what's going on? And take it as more than what it actually is.
Do you wish more people knew that about you?
Absolutely.
Do you feel pressure to hide that about you?
I think so, only because so many people depend on me.
What do you mean by that?
Like, I'm one of 8 kids.
You're one of 8?
I'm one of 8.
Where do you fall in the line?
I'm number 6, so I'm one of the babies. So I have one little sister and one little brother. But anytime anything has ever gone wrong, everything falls on me. So if it's something as small as like Thanksgiving, I put the entire Thanksgiving together. Where we're going to be, who's bringing what time we're meeting. It's always me. Or something as like one of my parents getting sick. I'm the one that keeps the entire family together. I'm the one who is the only one who has access to any finances if something were to happen to my parents. So it's usually me who has to be strong for everybody.
When did that become your role?
I feel like it's always been. And it's not like we're close in age. We range from 40 to 23. I remember my senior year of high school, my dad had a stroke on prom night. And I left my appointment to get to my parents.
I always wonder when that happened, like when you recognize that. Do you feel like it's because of naturally who you are? People are like, well, then this is your role, like this is what you want to do, or people take advantage of it?
I feel like naturally I'm naturally a leader, so I think that that's one of my strengths, but I also think it's a personal weakness because I'm so comfortable in the role that I have a hard time allowing myself to step back from it. But I would say, like, I think it's how I was raised. Like, I mean, I've had when I lived in Charlotte, I remember, like, breaking down from being homesick because it was the first time I ever lived away from home, and calling my dad and him being like, you know what? You're going to be fine. You're a cat. You're going to land on your feet. Like, you're one of my only children that I don't worry about. And to me, like, I was offended. Like, what do you mean you don't worry about me? And he was like, I just know you're going to be okay. And I'm just like, but I want you to worry as much as you worry about any of my other siblings. But to him, he was like, this is the role you were given. Like, I am the same person in my family. And I'm like, and I watched you hurt. And he was like, you know, you just play your part.
What advice would you have given him to give to you that you think would have suited that better?
I would tell him that just because you console someone doesn't mean that you are enabling them to be weak. Because I think he tells me these things so that I can stay strong and be okay. But I think that sometimes it's okay to console someone. That doesn't mean that they're going to show weakness every time they're hurt. But when they are showing it to you, you should comfort them.
What are 3 words you would use to describe yourself?
Independent, giving, very giving, and powerful.
What powerful?
I think that the part about my life that I enjoy most is knowing that I have such an impact on other people. And as often as I can, I want to be able to give back to other people to show them that they are equally as great as the people that they surround themselves with.
Yes. Okay, so you traveled a couple of places. Is there any place that either you haven't traveled to,
okay,
or that you have traveled to, that you're like, if I could move there, I'll live there?
Yes. So I've been to Seattle.
Okay.
Of all places. People are like, don't move there. But I found the city beautiful. I did go like in summertime, so it was the one place that I've visited that felt like freeing. You can take the train everywhere, and the train's not crowded like a New York City or Chicago train. The people are friendly there. I didn't feel like I was a tourist or visiting, even going to like some of their museums. Like, you could tell that there were people from there who were just there taking in the city.
What got you into the beauty industry?
I started working in the beauty industry in high school, just doing makeup. And I saw how quickly something as concealer could change someone's entire mood on how they felt about themselves. But what completely sold me was I taught a lady how to fill in her eyebrows who had just come out of chemo. And we stood there in the middle of Ulta crying together because this was the first time she had seen herself with eyebrows in 2 years. And I was like, this is where I'm supposed to be.
So that's the beautiful side of beauty. So when you think about kind of the dark side of it, has there been things about it you're like, I love this, but this also is like, because I feel like you can go either way.
Oh, absolutely. When I worked at a medical spa, I would encounter women who had body dysmorphia all the time, who didn't see themselves as we saw them. And I remember this woman very specifically. She would come in to have filler put in her cheeks, and then she'd have it for about a month, and then she'd come in and get it dissolved because she didn't like it anymore. And then she'd come in 2 weeks later and have her lips done, and then she would think they were too full because of what one of her friends said to her, so she'd come in and have it dissolved. She'd come in and get filler under her eyes and then decide that they were too smooth and come and have it dissolved. Like, it was constant. And this is not a $60 procedure. I'm talking like she'd come in and spend no less than $2,000 every visit. And she was beautiful, beautiful Moroccan woman. And she thought that she was not as attractive as her friends.
What do you think women need to know about their looks?
I think that women should know that no matter how little bit of makeup you have on or whatever you choose to do with yourself, if that's what you choose to do, then that's the best thing for you personally. So you shouldn't feel insecure if you do want to modify your body or you don't agree with it. That's your own personal decision, and that's good enough for everybody.
So for the woman who kept on coming in and she just wasn't satisfied, what do you think she was missing?
I just don't think she thought she was enough. And I think that comes from your tribe. I think that maybe she was missing those people in her life to, one, tell her that she was enough, or two, tell her that she needed to stop.
Do you feel like you've had that in your life?
I think it's something that I have acquired over the years. I've had the same group of friends for the past 15 years. And my mom is the most brutally honest person you could ever meet. So, yeah.
So are you more like your mom or your dad? Sounds like your dad thinks you're like him.
I think they both think I'm like them.
Uh-huh.
But I would probably say I'm more like my dad.
So you are. So he's right.
He is. Which is what makes me mad.
He called it.
What's
your dad like?
My dad is, I think so highly of him. Like, if I could, he's probably my favorite person I've ever met in my life. He is so loving and so genuine, and he comes off as like this big tough guy, and he's really not. He will give until it hurts just to see someone not have to go without. He's from a large family. He's one of 11, and he's the black sheep in his family. So he's kind of to himself most of the time, and he has raised us to be the exact opposite. So we have Sunday dinner together every Sunday. Rain, sleet, or snow, my dad is like, we're having dinner Sunday. We're going to spend this time together. There are no cell phones allowed at our kitchen table. He is so forgiving. He will never judge you for anything that you do. I mean, I call and tell him things I probably shouldn't because I need to process, and I know that he won't judge me for what I've told him. And he has taught me what real love between two people looks like with him and my mom.
Tell me, what is real love?
My parents are a united front every day. None of us kids can ever get in between what they have. And they will never let us see that to our faces. Do I know that they probably don't agree with each other, but they won't have this disagreement in front of us. We'll talk through it, but they will not like have an argument or a fight in front of us children or other people, because they've taught me that privacy in your relationship is one of the most important things, that you shouldn't let other people have an opinion about it. There have been times where people have struggled. So financial struggles. My dad is a business owner, and my mom at one point was a stay-at-home mom. We didn't always have everything, but I can't ever remember like truly wanting for something that I needed.
Are you nervous?
Always.
Why?
I don't know. Because this is my first time, well, not meeting you, but like this is so intimate. I'm very rarely with just like one person at a time. Unless I'm like doing brows or something, and then I usually have someone, I'm sitting above them. It's not as often like just, you and I. Their eyes are closed, and I'm listening to them tell me their entire life stories for like 2 hours at a time.
So do you get to talk a lot about you?
No. I usually listen to people talk about themselves.
How does that make you feel?
I feel like most people don't know much about me, other than my younger sister. So yes, I'm nervous.
It's okay. So you say there's not a lot of times where it's just you one-on-one, even with your friends?
No, there's a group of us.
So you're always grouped?
Yeah. Even with my siblings, there's a group of us. Yeah.
Do you like to be by yourself?
I do. Which is crazy because I probably come across as like an extrovert, but I like being home with my dog. And just being us.
Oh, what kind of dog do you have?
I have a Great Dane.
Girl, you have a Great Dane?
And she's 8 months old. She thinks she's a horse. We go to my parents' house. They live on a ranch with horses. and is like out in the backfield running around.
When did you decide to get her? Was she your first pet for just you?
Yes, my first pet for just me. I was in a long-term relationship, so we never had pets. We lived together. We were together for 10 years, and we lived together for as long as I can think. And so I always had companionship. So when I lived in Charlotte, I had a roommate. And so since December, this is the first time I've ever lived by myself.
It's good, or is it challenging?
It is. At first it was challenging because it was so quiet. I'm like, I don't know what to do with myself. So then I got Wednesday. That's her name.
Did you name her after Wednesday Addams?
Yes. Most people don't get it.
Really?
They're like, did you get her on a Wednesday?
Girl, no, Wednesday Addams.
Yes.
So you said that you don't feel like a lot of people know you. Because of that, do you feel like any of your relationships outside of like your father, who you really knows you, or your younger sister who you really talk to, do you feel like they're not as deep as they could be because of that?
Yes. And I have friends. I have a friend specifically who will call me out on it.
Really?
To the point that I'm uncomfortable and she does not care that I'm uncomfortable about it.
Because you won't talk about yourself.
Right.
So do you say you choose not to talk about yourself?
I would say that my friends have so much, and family members have so much going on, that I don't feel like I have to talk about me. Whereas, like, I'm the only one who doesn't have children. So it's constantly, like, baby talk. And I'm one of the only ones who's currently, like, not in a relationship. So it's not, my husband did this. Or, you know, so I just don't feel like I have to, like, interject myself into these conversations because they don't necessarily pertain to me. And it's usually no less than 4 of us together at a time.
And they're all talking about things you can't really relate to.
Yeah.
Do you feel like your friendship is uneven?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you think they know that?
I think that in the past month, a lot has surfaced because I've withdrawn myself from them. Just to take some time for me. Like, I've traveled so many places. I've just done things that I want to do, which usually leaves them out. That I think they felt they were left out of so many things that I do. And we recently had a conversation about it. And I'm always the one, every birthday party, every event, every kid's birthday party, if someone has some sort of emergency come up, Britney, can you watch one of the babies? You know, I'm always there. And I don't think that I even felt like our relationships were uneven until we had a disagreement and it was like everyone against me. It was kind of very apparent that my friends didn't know me as well as they thought they did at this point. And I think all of us kind of realized that. I'll be very specific. I had one of my friends say, I don't think that you deserve my friendship. And I said, tell me what you've done that makes you feel like you deserve my friendship more than I deserve yours. Just one thing. It doesn't have to be monetary or anything, just tell me. And she could think of nothing. And I said, okay, so tell me the last time that you called and asked me for something and I gave it to you, whatever it was, even if it was just a conversation. And she's like, well, every time I call you, you're there. And I'm like, so is it that I don't deserve your friendship or is it that you don't deserve my friendship? And she said, you can't be upset that I don't know anything about you because you don't call and tell me. And I was like, well, when do you call to check on me? And then it just, like, the conversation just, like, unraveled. And then a bunch of old things came up that should have been hashed out years ago. But I think she was looking for leverage.
Why do you think friendships are hard?
I think friendships are hard because people don't realize that you don't have to trade love. Like, I don't have to trade my love for my best friend for the love of a spouse. Like, I can have them both. I don't have to trade one for the other. And I should be able to love them both without making either of them feel like I love them less.
Do you think that you contributed to them not knowing about you?
I definitely did. And I think it's because I have witnessed them be upset or judgmental about other things that they've encountered. And so I just made a mental note, like, I'm never going to bring that up because I don't want to deal with the the void that it could cause.
What do you mean, like fracturing of a friendship, or what do you mean?
Just like some of my friends are very opinionated, and some of them are very religious and don't understand that just because what's right for me isn't right for you doesn't mean that you should. Like, you don't have to agree with what I do to still be a part of my life. And I think that has caused issues in our current relationships. We have one of our best friends is gay, and he wasn't included in one of our friends' weddings because he was gay.
When did it become where you're like, okay, I'm not going to share so much me because I don't feel like there's room for me?
I think that comes from my family. So I think it's kind of always been this way. I have a sister who demands a lot of attention. And not like, it's not always positive attention, but I think that she has always been this way. And so I kind of am so used to her, like, me, that I'm just like, let her have it. Like, even to the point where, like, being with me by myself, like us right now, will feel one way, where I know that if my sister was here, I probably would say way less because of who she is as a person.
Do you think you give up some things for other people that you may need?
Definitely, especially time. So I find myself giving up time to help other people when I probably could use this time for myself, even if it's just to do nothing.
How do you take care of yourself?
That's probably one of my biggest struggles, but I take care of myself when I'm away from home. So I feel the least amount of stress when I'm out of Austin. My favorite part about living in Charlotte was not living in Austin.
I feel that. Because you don't have that.
No. You can't call me. I can't fix anything from you. I'm too far away. All I can do is listen to you. I can't come to you. I can't do anything. It was so freeing. And then I came home because Charlotte wasn't the right place for me. And I think the better decision would have been to move somewhere else instead of coming home.
If you could give you some advice for self-care, what would you tell yourself?
I would tell myself to learn to say no and not explain yourself.
If you had the attention of the whole world, what would you say?
That's so hard. If I had the attention of the whole world, I would say to be very intentional about all the things that you do.
What do you think is the biggest misconception about Black women?
I think the biggest misconception about Black women is that we're angry. I know that in my life, there are plenty of times where I have been seen as upset or hostile when it was passion. And I mean that in the workplace and even in my personal life.
I told y'all she was cool. I appreciate Britney so much because I was internally just struggling. And thank God she was so honest, transparent, and vulnerable, because it made what I did so much more easy. So much more easy. And I knew, I was like, yo, this is solid because we're meeting her fully. And I told her, I was like, girl, if you don't want something in here, you let me know, because you being who you are right now is blessed in my life. And I appreciate it because you don't have to be that way because you don't know me. But yeah, she went for it and I just love it. Oh my gosh, who is texting me? See, this is life, you guys. Look at me getting all angry. I know I'm just happy to have some friends. I don't know why I'm tripping. Anyway, the point is, if you liked this episode, please rate, share, comment, anything, post it. Just please get the word out about it and share with people if you think they would enjoy it too. And if you want to contact me, my Instagram is theinimitablebw. And then our email is theinimitablebw@gmail.com. Thank you again for coming and listening and just enjoying this. Hopefully we'll be again, not this week coming up, but the week after. So yeah. Peace out. I love y'all. Bye.